I sat there and I watched my friend smoke a pipe of the DMT. And then what I saw for the 3 or 4 minutes after that really amazed me. I could see in him how enlightened he had instantly become. And I could see how happy that experience was making him. I could see the smile on my best friend's face. I could see, knowing that I know him so well, I knew that was a happy place for him. I knew that was a soul opening space for him. And I was sold. When people say, I'm so stressed out, I have a decision to make. Just make a decision. You're going to be faced with another decision right afterwards. And then after that decision, you're going to have another decision. There's always going to be yes, no. Behind door no, there's going to be another yes, no. Behind then door yes, there's going to be another yes, no. Do you know? But you just have to trust that all the doors that you take, whether they're the right or the wrong doors, red or black, whatever it is, blue pill, red pill, the destination is the same. It's God. That's it. That's the end destination.
You're going to get there one way or another.
You're going to get there. You're on your way to it. That's it. It just depends on how difficult you want to make your life between the now and the then, through either deciding to just trust the process and trust that you're going to get there, or if you don't trust, things are going to be a little bit more difficult, a little bit more challenging, a little bit more stressful, and that's going to suck when you realize that you're still going to get there. And you wasted potential, and you wasted energy, and you didn't ever surrender to how good life can be if you just relinquish a little bit of your control.
Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to the James Xander Trip, where we dive into spirituality, psychedelics, altered states of consciousness, the nature of reality, and how we can bring all of this down to earth to improve our mind, connect with our heart, and uplevel our relationship with life. Joining me today for the second time is Damian Schechter. By day, Damian is an athlete and a performance coach, but by night, he's a cosmic soul who has been embarking on all sorts of spiritual and psychedelic adventures. And he's someone who is really committed to the path of transformation and the path of personal growth. And I see that in everything he does. In this episode, we're going to dive into his recent psychedelic and spiritual journeys and find out what he's learned since we last spoke. Damian, welcome back to the podcast.
My man, so good to be back.
So good to have you.
So good to be back.
So, last time we spoke, you had shared the story of how mushrooms had changed your life.
Yeah.
And listeners of the show can hear all about that in episode 18. But since we last spoke, you have had a couple more profound psychedelic adventures with some very potent plant medicines.
Yeah.
DMT, Kambo, San Pedro, Ayahuasca. Am I missing anything?
I think there was the San Pedro. Obviously, I'd never done Rape or Sananga either. Then, obviously, the DMT.
Mm-hmm.
Then, last week was the Kambo and the Ayahuasca with a little bit more Rape and Sananga. Yeah.
I would love to dive into all of these individually and hear your thoughts on how you ended up trying them, what your expectation was, what wisdom you received from each medicine, and ultimately the lessons and the integration that you took away from your experience.
It's been life-changing, to say the least. I think we'll start with the first experience. So I think, just going back to how did I come into kind of contact with the plant medicine journey, right? Because, I don't want to say I've always done mushrooms, but I've been familiar with it for 10 years, and I never really looked at that as a plant medicine as much as I actually looked at it as a little bit of a gateway into avoiding what was going on in the real world in the now. I just want a temporary little pick me up, a little bit of a celestial experience, but I never really looked at it as a transformative element in my life. I just really looked at it as these are really beautiful, cool, temporary experiences. You feel elated, you feel euphoric, you kind of trip out a bit. But I think that's because that was where my intention was at, right? My intention was just to just like it would be for cocaine, when I did a lot of party drugs, I kind of looked at mushrooms as also go to a trance party, take mushrooms, or then when I obviously came to Bali, it was great, go to Gili tea and go do mushrooms, and maybe just loosen the bolts a little bit, like have a little bit of fun. But I don't think that was still part of my spiritual journey. Like I felt like that was still maybe a part of me just trying to relinquish a little bit of stress and pressure that was like going on in the brain. Like as I mentioned to you last time, that was the key to just opening up the brain, letting out the dirty air, and like letting some creative, fresh air in. But in terms of the plant medicines, the first one was obviously the San Pedro and DMT trail of transformation that I went through. And I was in South Africa 3 months ago. And when I left Cape Town to come back to Bali, I was here for like the whole December, New Year's. But that whole time I was like, man, there's just something you need to go back to South Africa for. Like, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know if it was my mom. I didn't know if it was like I needed to close a chapter with a certain friend or so. Overnight, I booked a flight back to South Africa. I'd only been here for like 3 weeks, and I was like, okay, yep, let's go back home. 19 hours, it is what it is. It's over December period, so it's summertime. You've got nothing to lose, everything to gain. So
I love how you book these flights overnight all the time.
that's literally how I book all my flights. Even while you and I are sitting here right now, I'm contemplating leaving to Dubai on Monday for my visa. So, I do things on a whim. Strategic whim,
strategic whim. I love that.
Strategic whim, like don't be reckless in like making hasty decisions. It has to be with a little bit of logic, but go with the flow as well. So I flew back to Cape Town, and the idea behind me going back was to go and help my mom. Like without going into too much context, like I just really wanted to financially like kind of help her with a few things and surprise her at the same time. My mom's my best friend, so like that's a win for me as well, just to spend time with her. And I'd been in Cape Town maybe for about like 2 hours, and I get a message from a friend of mine, and he said, bro, we're going on a trail of transformation. Do you want to join? I didn't even ask him what it was about. I was just like, fuck yeah, like let's just do it. Like there's once again, nothing to lose, everything to gain. I've come here to see my mom, but I've also got an abundant amount of time. Sure. He said there's going to be some plant medicines. Now, keeping in mind, I've never heard of San Pedro. I've never heard of mescaline. I definitely don't know what the hell Sananga or Rape is. And DMT is something that I'd heard from like friends in the past, of something that I interpreted as, whoa, that's a really escapist thing to go and do. So I had like a little bit of a preconceived notion about these things, these terms, these like names of plants that I'd never heard of. And I think especially when I don't come from a spiritual background, like I've never done spiritual work, it was like a little bit taboo for me. I was like, oh, this is a little bit like, but there's been so much growth in my life that's happened in the past year that spiritually I'm in a good place to just actually say, you know what, let me receive. Like whatever comes my way, whether it's in the form of plant medicines, whether it's in the form of experiences, whether it's me putting myself in an outer comfort zone experience, just because it's something I haven't done. This is also why I would go and do something like an Ironman or go and do a marathon, is because these are things that like inherently I never wanted to go and do. So I think through doing so many of these things, I was actually just open to the idea of, okay, well, I'm going to go to bed that evening anyways. So between me waking up and me going to bed, whatever the fuck happens, like just go with it,
I love that attitude. It's so, like you said, receiving the gifts from the universe, receiving what the divine is trying to show you.
For sure. Exactly. And I already kind of like, I think started to begin that receiving chapter with the smallest of things, like oracle cards. Right? Like,
which you had never expected to be someone who would do that.
Bro, I mean, even if you look at me, do I look like someone who on a Saturday night lays out his oracle cards on the bed at 9:30 in the evening and waving my hand over these cards, trying to feel the energy of a card that's speaking to me? That's what I do, bro. I did this last night at 9 o'clock over dinner at a warung with one of my best mates. We had just finished dinner. I was like, dude, can I do a reading for you? And he looks at me and he's like totally not expecting me to pull out a whole deck of oracle cards. I think I've got the oracle cards in my bag here. And so, I've never been open to this kind of stuff, So I just said, yeah, cool, great, let's go for it. Don't know what these medicines are, but I didn't even Google it. He sent me a list of things like that we were going to be doing that day. And I was like, sweet, not even going to bother. Like, just fuck it, let's go for it. So we start hiking the mountain, and remember, this is with like an indigenous tribe as well, the Khoisan, right? So these are some of the oldest beings on earth, like the African Khoisan people, you know,
Wow.
the gatherers and the hunters. These are like, you know, we're in their sacred land. So these trails that we're walking on are very, very old spiritual sites, holy sites. You know, the 5-star rock formations, you know, where like that wasn't just put there. Like, that is a place, that circular little rock space is where hunters and gatherers have been, you know, being in community for thousands of years. That's where they would go maybe pray, do medicines, you know, like come together in ceremony. So a very like spiritual experience going up there as is. Like, you're in a very sacred spot. So what we do is like 7 o'clock in the morning, we start hiking up the mountain. Bear in mind, it's a mountain. Like, we're not fucking around here. Like, it's actually like a very steep, you know, steep climb. And so it's now maybe 9 o'clock. We've got a beautiful setup. Remember, this is not just like a bunch of guys going up and like taking things out of packets and like just handing it over to each other. It's like we are being very looked after by a Goma and, you know, his partner. Like, so let's say the shaman and, you know, his partner who's a Reiki master, you know, they had really laid out a beautiful setting for us. You know, we had our spirit animal cards laid out. We had lots of offerings that we were all putting there to, you know, really make this a very beautiful experience. And they'd obviously mapped out certain parts of the mountain that we were going to be stopping at each way to do a different medicine or like a different, let's say, Reiki or sound healing. Or we did a whole bunch of these things. And so great, they give us a little bit of a rundown of, you know, the mescaline of I think the San Pedro. And we all then obviously took our drink. And then we lay down, and that's just kind of where I just completely surrendered, and things just got really beautiful. And like, I think with the San Pedro, it was something that when I had like now ingested this, right? And I'm like, okay, what's going to happen? Like, I've never done a plant medicine like this before. So I don't know, am I going to start tweaking out? Are things going to start looking different? Am I going to hear things? So you know, you go into this with a whole bunch of not expectations, but more just like, what's going to happen, really? Your expectation is what's going to happen, actually.
What do you think was the most surprising thing for you? What was your expectation going into it, if any? And then when the experience began, did you feel safe right away? Did you feel delighted, surprised, scared, nervous?
The most surprising thing for me, and this has been with all plant medicines, is that I'm still in control. Right? And how I can maybe like just substantiate that is when you do something like cocaine, your body starts to react differently. You start grinding your jaw, you know, your pupils dilate, you look like you fucked up, you know, and you know that you can't control your impulse. You know, you just really, you know, there's this inside of you that's rushing. There's all these like things that are physiologically happening to you. You know, you can always see if someone's like really like messed up, you know, and that's the background that I come from, right? Like, of course, I'm a health and fitness expert now, and like I've really got my shit together for the past couple of years. But, you know, through the years where I did a lot of drugs, let's say 18 to 23, 24, from what I know and what I remember and what I can recognize in other people is that like you're not in control of yourself. As much as you love to say, oh, I do this drug because I can still stay in control, not a fuck. Like, you know, but with, let's say, something like the San Pedro, I could still get up and stand. I could still go and touch something. I could go pick something up. I could still actually go and pick something off the tree and look at it. Or just every step that I would take, I was still really connected to myself. And I think that was the most surprising thing because, you know, and I think it's actually also the same with mushrooms. Like bodily, you're still actually very aware and you're very capable and you're still able to engage in a conversation. You know, and a beautiful conversation. You'll have even better conversations. You know, I think that's what really caught me off guard because I wasn't sure what to expect. Am I going to feel an intense vibration in my body that's going to maybe freak me out a bit? You know, so I think that's what caught me off guard the most was that I was still completely comfortable. I didn't have this all of a sudden, whoa, what's happening to me? I'm freaking out kind of experience, you know. But there was euphoria. There was real euphoria. I was fucking vibrating. Like I was levitating at one point. Like, whoa, wow, holy, wow.
What I heard someone describe San Pedro as is like a natural version of MDMA. In a sense.
That's exactly what I described it as to somebody. So context, I took 2 cups.
Uh-huh.
I took one, and then about 40 minutes later, like they're offering a second serving, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. However, you've got like a good 6 to 8 hours of this release. So 45 minutes later to commit to a second cup, like you're going all in, you know? So, I took second cup, and, you know, we were obviously passing the spirit guide, the spirit animal guide around. We had all had our cards. We were all reading on, you know, kind of like, what is the meaning of our card to us? There was still a lot of communication between a lot of us. You know, we didn't take it and then sit there in silence waiting to trip. You know, we were just having good conversation, lots of love, lots of laughs. And but I had to stop reading at one point because I felt like I was on like 30 MDMAs, but not stimulatory. That's the thing. So, you know, I think if you had to say, great, it definitely is like a natural, like a spiritual MDMA, but without the stimulant.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. The second there's a stimulant involved, that's where I think like physiologically your body responds really in an unhealthy way. Whereas for this, I could like look at my hand and still be completely fine. Like I wouldn't be shaking, I wouldn't be like jittering, but inside I had the euphoria of like 30 MDMAs. So like, wow. Holy fuck! Like I feel really elated. I feel so good. Like, wow. So yeah, it's definitely an upper, if we can just put it like that, you know.
Where did your mind go during those 6 to 8 hours? What thoughts came up for you? What memories, associations? And in that state of basically as if you're on 30 MDMAs, how did you perceive the world?
I think yourself? Invincible. I think that's how I can maybe describe it. As I just felt really untouchable. Like, wow. And you know, this is, I think, where you start to bridge into the spiritual world a bit. You know, where you realize that you're just in a body. And what I was experiencing that day was more in the spirit. So, yeah, it was, obviously we did the San Pedro, we were there for 2 hours. We packed all of our shit up, then we continued up the trail. And then we went to go, and at this point also we did the rapé. I'd never done rapé before.
Very grounding.
Very grounding. So I think that really also channeled like the San Pedro even stronger.
Wow.
Obviously, I've never had such an intense thing blown into my nose before. I mean, fuck, you know what I mean? Wow, that, you know, like that initial blow, and you're just like, oh my god, it's so intense. Whereas now I'm like a rapé veteran. Like I love this shit so much. I'm going to be getting some tomorrow for myself. Self-administered pipe.
Nice.
So yeah, that's a completely different topic. I love that stuff. Actually, it's great. But
I think that's so similar to everyone's experience. The first time it's like, oh my god, what is this?
What the fuck are you?
And then afterwards,
but it's like spiritual cocaine, dude. Like that really, if you actually even just look at it at face value, it's like you're blowing something up your nose to give you a feeling.
Yeah,
it's spiritual crack,
but in a spiritual,
in a really spiritual, beautiful way. You know? That's the thing, dude. Like it's
people who have not done rapé must think we're like on crack right now.
Yeah. Dude, like we should have actually just done a little bit of rapé before this. It would have been great. But I was even thinking about actually, you know, using this before my training. Yeah. Because it gets me really focused, really centered.
Right.
You know, just before I walk into the gym, just bang a quick little pipe of rapé.
Mm-hmm.
Because that, and I'll get back to that just now when we speak about the ayahuasca, I feel like that really kind of like supercharges an experience.
Yes.
It really throws you a little bit deeper into it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But so anyways, we obviously then did the rapé at the same time. Cool. Take a nice little walk, maybe another half a kilometer into the mountain, and now we're at the top of the mountain. We're looking at the plants. They're really bright. They're really beautiful. You know, really appreciating the fact that we're on top of Table Mountain in South Africa. This is like one of the, I don't know if anyone that's listening has seen Table Mountain. It's one of the fucking wonders of the world. Like, how did such an insane mountain just plant itself literally next to an ocean? You know, and it's the most beautiful, most lively ecosystem like that I've ever experienced. So we're going through this, you know, this trail, and yeah, like the San Pedro has definitely like kicked me a bit, like I'm loving life. I'm very fit. So like for me, I love outdoor life. So I'm very excited to kind of like be up there. And so then we go to the next little destination, and that's where there is a very big cave system in the mountain. Now we're talking this mountain being 1 kilometer high, right? It's like, but you can access a cave system that goes to sea level, right, from the top. And so this is obviously the ancient cave system that, like the Khoisan people have been going into and living in pure darkness. But, so we find ourselves like a nice little area that's next to this entrance of the caves. Now, you don't have to tell me twice that there's a cave system down there. I'm going to go down there. And we don't have lights. I mean, you could fit a football field in the openings of this mountain. It's incredible.
Wow.
And so I look down. I can't see anything. It's pitch black. We've got massive boulders, lots of dirt, lots of sand. Logically, it's a dumb thing to do to start climbing down there. But my eyes adjusted so well that I could see everything crystal clear in darkness. And we went maybe for like 10 minutes, just went and explored down there. A lot of people didn't want to come. Well, a few people didn't want to, but myself and one other person, we really went deep. Beautiful experience. Came back up. We all lay down, and that was my introduction to Sananga. So now we've obviously cleared the sinuses, we've cleared the palate, we've done the rapé, we've now the San Pedro. It's really, I think, now coasting. Now we're maybe like 2.5 hours into this experience. And the Sananga, I didn't even know it was coming. I didn't even know what we were about to do. She just said, lie down, I'm going to pass out Sananga now in the next like 2 minutes.
Oof.
Close your eyes.
Oof.
I've got no fucking idea what's going on. Anyway, so comes and puts the eye drops on my eyes, and immediately I feel this burn. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, guys, it's going to burn, but what we're going to do, this is how we're going to blink for the next like 2 to 3 minutes to really like let it settle in. Bro, let me just describe this as, imagine you had a cup and you put Tabasco sauce, fresh cut chili, pepper, and like just whatever the fuck else burns, like a little bit of acid in there, and you mix it up and you put it in eye drops and you drop it into someone's eye. I've never experienced something like that. That was so tough to work through. And I think that's the process itself, right? It's not necessarily as much how it cleans the filter and the lens of your eye and, the retina, and how it really like actually, I think, does have an effect in the physical, but it's that process of having to breathe through it, control the impulse, control that, it burns. You have to breathe through it. Yeah, it fucking sucks. It burns, man. Wow, it's the gnarliest thing. Your eyes are not meant to feel pain. That's not like a place where you're meant to be burning. Like, so it was a very, very intense experience. One of the guys that was there, and I don't want to speak too much about like anyone else's experience, but the one guy that, we were with, he got up after that and he looked like fucking 15 kilos lighter, bro. You could just see that he had a bit of an ego death through that. That was something that caused him pain, and he worked through it. And you could see that in him when he got up. And like we all said it to him, wow, bro, like you are glowing right now. Like you are looking like you've really dropped a lot of stress in your life. And he was like, yeah.
Wow.
Like he was like, wow, I think I've just had like an ego death. And I'm like, wow, that's not even like the plant medicine. It's a plant medicine, but it's not, let's say, the DMT or the San Pedro. Or
it's not psychedelic in that
No, it's not
sense.
psychedelic, right? But just even that experience was very transformative on its own.
Working through the challenge, working through the difficulty.
Yeah, which I think is the plant medicine,
Plus, he's already on San Pedro.
Exactly.
So you're more conscious, your senses are heightened.
Oh, big time. Big time. So we did that. Do you have any questions, by the way, on anything that I just went through?
Oh, I'm loving this.
Okay.
This is fantastic.
Cool. By the way, this is all very new to me. You know what I mean? Like I'm really going with the flow. Like I'm an open book with no writing in it. Like I got no expectations. And that's why I can also look at these situations in the moment and just be like, fuck, this is hilarious. Like, dude, this is so not you, but you're loving this.
Well, that's why I wanted to have you on the pod,
Yeah.
because it's such a unique experience to have someone it's their first time.
Yeah.
but they're also very conscious and experienced in other ways, in other areas of life. And to bring that wisdom to your first psychedelic experiences, it's a beautiful combination.
I get made fun of sometimes by like some of my friends that I go on to these experiences with, because they're like, and you don't have any expectations, you got no worry, you've got apparently no traumas that you feel like you need to work through. I'm like, yeah, I've got traumas, but I mean, I'm not putting it out on the table, you know what I mean? Like, let's just have fun. Whatever comes. Like, that's it. Like, I don't have an expectation. Like, I think for me, the fact that I'm standing in my power confidently enough to go into something that I could sit here and be stressed out about and be worried. And whoa, what if this brings a really negative experience? What happens if this makes me realize that everything I'm doing in my life is wrong? Or why go into it with that? Like, just go into it with open arms. And I think as long as you go into it with the intent to heal,
yes,
that's it. And that's what I have. That's the only intention that I have. Because,
I love that.
Like, I think anyone who ignores the fact that they're damaged goods and you're ignorant to the fact that you need to work on yourself, you know, you're going to have a bit of a shitty experience. But for me, I know that I've only got to gain. Yeah. I know that, like, I've had a fucking shitty past in some areas of my life. So what have I really got to lose? Like, can a 6 to 8 hour San Pedro experience really suck more than like the 2 years of heartbreak that I went through after my divorce from my best friend? Like, you went through a lot worse than the next 6 to 8 hours. You're going to go to sleep tonight. You know?
What I notice in you is you're not afraid to face your demons. You're not afraid to face your mind. You know there's shadows in there, but you're also happy to greet them and say hello to them.
Exactly.
And I love what you said, that I went in with no intention, but the intention to heal. To heal. I think that's such a beautiful pointer for anyone going into an ayahuasca journey, mushroom journey. If you don't have a clear intention, just go with the pure intention to heal and make sure your ego is out of the way. Yeah. Make sure you're humble in case it does get really difficult.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're pretty much golden, because if you can surrender and dance with the medicine.
It's tattooed on the leg, bro.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's funny. I pulled out of my Oracle card deck, the card that I pulled the most, and bear in mind there's 44 cards. I think the one that comes out the most is surrender. There's some cards I've never even seen. Some cards I've never even picked up and I've never even looked at.
Well, that's your theme. That's your theme, I think.
But I would say like 7 or 8 times in the past like 2 months, that surrender card constantly comes up.
Yeah.
And I don't do my Oracle cards every single day. I do them maybe once a week when like I just feel like I need a bit of a mirror. So it's a really big theme for me at the moment. So like that's why I go into an experience like this just ready to surrender. Like, you've got nothing to lose. So we do the Sananga, and then afterwards, great, we're going to go do some Reiki. Okay. Bro, look who you're speaking to here. Do I fucking look like I believe in Reiki? Bro, I spend like 20 hours a week in the gym lifting heavy weights, okay? Like, I am going to call bullshit, okay? Because you know what? You know when you, and I definitely don't want to offend someone that's listening to this that like goes to church and, you know, like connects with God. I'm just going to be subjective in this, right? This is my opinion. That when you see a healer, a religious healer in one of these churches where it's like someone comes in a wheelchair and fucking 5 minutes later they're dancing, okay? And like they're healed. I struggle to believe in that, okay? Especially when there is a lot of evidence that has proved some of these are paid actors. Especially when, you know, not saying all, and not saying that the power of healing through religion is not a real thing at all. But my subjective experience is that I've just never believed in the fact that you were disabled 5 minutes ago for the past fucking 30 years. And now all of a sudden it's like you're moving as if like your joints are still fine. Like, bro, if you haven't gotten out of a wheelchair for 30 years, I can tell you right now, you ain't gonna be able to move your knees like that, you know? So I've always like held a bit of judgment against the body doing things without your control, right? So it's like if I want to, let's say, thrust my hips forward, I can consciously do that. I've always looked at Reiki as, how does that happen without someone touching you to move your hips? But at the same time, I can also see that consciously you're not doing it yourself. right? It's like your hips are not all of a sudden elevating, you know, like your shoulders are coming out of you just lying there, and all of a sudden, yeah, like your body is moving in ways that I can't explain. So therefore I don't believe it, right? So that was my thing, is I had a huge amount of judgment on something like Reiki because I didn't understand it. I hadn't experienced it. So I don't know how much the San Pedro had to do with this, but obviously, like, now I'm fucking 3.5, 4 hours in, and I'm literally levitating. Okay, like, I am really in a good place right now. And so we all go lie down. We've got a really beautiful area. We've got our sarongs on the floor, and you know, there's all of the aromatherapy sprays and oils in the middle. And you know, we've obviously got now the shaman's partner, who's a Reiki healer. She's giving us cues, and she's, you know, kind of like guiding us through a guided meditation, a Reiki meditation. So we're all lying there, and while she's busy, you know, inviting in certain spirits and inviting in, you know, just I think certain instruction for this Reiki experience, the shaman is obviously coming around, and he's like spraying these aromas, the one for like the root chakra and the heart chakra, and like bro, like 3 minutes in, all of a sudden, like I feel like I'm just like lifting off the ground, bro. I'm like, this cannot be real. Like, honestly, at this point, I'm in disbelief, because it's just gone against my beliefs completely. Like,
your beliefs are shattered.
My beliefs are completely shattered. I'm lying there thinking this is not going to work, but I'm going to surrender to it, and I'm going to give it a chance. And whatever she's asking me to envision, I'm going to do that. I'll be present. I'm just going to actually believe for the next 20 minutes, I'm just going to actually believe that this is real. But otherwise, I'm going to leave this experience and just be like, that was funny, but that was bullshit, you know? But like 3 or 4 minutes into this, I can just feel that like my knees are like lifting off the ground. I can feel that like my hips are thrusting forward. I can feel that my heart is being drawn towards something. Like, I could just feel that my body I wasn't doing this. I was not doing this, and nobody was moving me. And that was like, okay, belief system completely shattered. And I felt like I was levitating. Honestly, there was a point where like I actually felt like no part of my body was on the ground at all. And I really wish that was like recorded on video, because I'm dead certain I was not on the ground. Like, I'm dead certain I was literally levitating. I think that was the San Pedro. But that was a beautiful experience itself, because, you know, we didn't do anything within that ceremony other than have these aromatherapies and, you know, like these, just really beautiful smells, sights, you know, all that stuff now is being consolidated through the rape, the sananga, the aroma smells that were being sprayed around. And so that's kind of where we then finished that off. We took about a 25-minute walk to a cliff on top of the mountain that overlooks the whole ocean. And oh my God, bro, this is now like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We've been up that mountain now for like 12 hours, dude. And that's where it was, okay, who wants to do the Changa? Who wants to do the DMT? It's not something that all of you need to do. So if you are going to do it, great, cool. If not, please just hold the space for whoever is going to do it. So I was like, you know what? Let me think about it for a couple minutes. Obviously, everything that we have experienced has still been me in control. Past few hours, it's still been me grounded to this earth in my own head. Whereas I knew, the reason why the DMT is an option is because like this is a different experience, you know? So I was like, you know, I'm not going to write it off, but I am going to just give it a few minutes and maybe watch my best friend do it first to make sure he comes out alive, you know? And so that's what we did. You know, we sat there, and one of my best mates, we went and sat behind him, so that his peripheral was just completely clean and open to the mountain and to the ocean. That's it. And so I sat there and I watched my friend smoke a pipe of the DMT. And then what I saw for the 3 or 4 minutes after that really amazed me. I could see in him how enlightened he had instantly become. And I could see how happy that experience was making him. I could see the smile on my best friend's face. I could see, knowing that I know him so well, I knew that was a happy place for him. I knew that that was a soul opening space for him. And I was sold. So, 4 minutes later, 5 minutes later, they say, cool, he's obviously now just going to integrate this for a few minutes, but they open it up and says, who wants to go next? I'm like, me, motherfucker. Like, I'm well down for that. Like, put my name down. I'm next. I'm dead keen. I want to experience whatever he's just experienced. Not knowing what he has just experienced. I don't know what the man has just seen, felt, heard, but I want to have a smile on my face like that. I could feel his energy. So I was like, yeah, done. Cool. So I lean against this rock. Beautiful. It's set up, bro. Be comfortable. There's blankets there. I mean, you can really just lay back and experience whatever's about to come. And packs the pipe. And he's like, listen, just, obviously, bro, I've got a very big history in smoking things. So like, smoking a pipe of anything for me, I can handle it. I'm not worried about coughing. I'm not worried about any of that. So gives me the pipe packed. And he said, listen, if it hits you pretty fast, just pass the pipe back to me. So I was like, great, cool. Like, he's obviously right next to me. Gives me the pipe. I smoke. And that was it, bro. It was like, what? It's got like, what, a 3 second, 2 second before it just like fucks you up. And
blasts you.
Blasted me, bro. It was literally like within a 2 second thing. I was just like, everything changed. It's kind of like you get pulled into like an open space. Like, I kind of got pulled back into. So obviously I closed my eyes first, right? And that's where geometrically kind of like everything started to just
fractalize.
Yeah, totally. But I felt like when I'd closed my eyes that I really was being pulled into like this very empty space behind me. And I'd like left my body. And like now I'm really in like no man's land, but whoa, I'm so excited to be here. This is like something I've never felt this. I've never felt me leaving my body. That was crazy. But I wanted to open my eyes to see it. So I opened my eyes, and that's where I was literally, my reaction was, oh my God. Like, bro, I opened my eyes and then I closed my eyes. I was like, that's too beautiful. That's too beautiful to look at. That is way too, that's insane. And I knew that they were there. So I even said to him, I was like, Hank, this is just, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, I honestly, I was so blown away at what the real world looked like. Not even the real world, but because the real world is just physical, right? But like what I experienced was just
the real world.
I experienced the fucking universe, dude. Like, I experienced the cosmos. Like, I experienced this like, oh wow, this is really what it actually is. And I'm just living in this mere little like physical space. I think the way that I can explain kind of like what it visually looked like to me was, when you open your phone, you open the camera and you're on 1. I think I even said this to you like 2 weeks ago, where it's like you press the 0.5 and it zooms out. Like, I was seeing things from like above my head, looking down on my body and being like, is this the body I was assigned to? Is this the vessel that my spirit has been given to live in this physical world? And that's where immediately everything made sense to me. But I was like, you are literally just having you're a spirit having a physical experience pretty much 99 trillion% of your life. Everything that you see. And when I started to look around, I saw how much depth things had. I would look at a rock, but it wasn't just like a 3-dimensional rock. It was life. It was vibration. It was energy. I looked down at myself and I was like, whoa, like that, you're the same thing, right? You're a moving entity of energy that the spirit has been assigned to so that you can cope in this real world. But everything just shifted my entire perception on what is life. What is the meaning of life? Like, what are we? We are just physical things. It blew, dude, like, I think you can't even explain a DMT experience to somebody. It's so individual. There's no generic templated way that people experience DMT. I don't know how my friend Jeff experienced it in that moment that I watched him.
But what you described just now, I felt tears coming to my eyes because the energy of it is so similar to when I first encountered DMT.
Yeah.
And actually every single time I've encountered DMT, it never gets old. It is this full moment of awakening, realizing you are spirit first, which all the books say, all the gurus say, but to experience it yourself.
Blew my mind.
And you open your eyes and it looks like you're looking at the raw substrate of reality, the raw source code.
The elements of it.
The elements of it. You're looking at this holographic universe, but you are also that universe. You're not looking at it on this movie screen.
No.
This is you and this is the world. You
are
the world.
You are the world. You're the spirit. You're the world.
You're in this consciousness container.
Yeah.
Consciousness perceiving itself.
Yeah.
And the beauty of everything, the divinity of it, the truth element in it that you feel.
Yeah. Blew my mind.
It is mind-blowing. And what you said about having that out-of-body experience.
Fucking crazy, dude.
Instantly changes you forever because you realize, oh, I have no body, but I'm aware.
Yeah.
And I'm safe.
Yeah.
And I feel great.
And even if I didn't have this body, I can... Whoa, what? Like, even if I wasn't assigned this body, I still understand what I'm seeing right now. Like it's, dude, like I would love to do DMT a lot, right? Like I'm just gonna put that out there. But I also know that you need to respect these things a lot, and I think that's where a lot of people can fuck this up, where they experience it once, and they're like, "Oh, I want to continue to, go into that world." I don't want to continue to go into that world. I want to respect the hell out of it and like really go into it when I get called to it again, but I spoke to someone the other day and they're like, oh, yeah, get a DMT pen. I'm like, why the fuck would I want to have access to that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner if I choose, bro? Like that, I would. But that's abuse. And that's really, that's escaping the reality, because the spiritual world is so beautiful. There's this feeling of elation. There's this feeling of finally understanding. And I think every human on earth is like on this journey to just understand life. And when you enter that world, you understand. Or at least you have a moment of clarity that's more than you can put together in the physical brain. Like, you can try and piece things together and read books and, reflect on a piece of paper, and you can do all these like physical self practices, but none of that will ever do as much justice as a 4-minute DMT trip, and I think people then want to start experiencing that more so that they can get clearer on themselves spiritually. But you have to remember, you also got to live in the real world and deal with real world things. And you can't ever escape that. Until the day you die, you cannot escape having to deal with stress, health, finances. So for me, I want to at least go back into that once in a while as a bit of a pick-me-up in terms of, great, you're still on this journey. You still want to continue understanding more about the universe and what really is and what really is not. But I think for me personally, because dude, I know guys that do DMT on a very regular basis and they are still able to respect the medicine, and they don't do it to escape reality, but more to continue doing that work. But I think I need to also look at like, what are my past patterns and behaviors of addiction? That's really not something that like, I don't think I'm ready to regularly go in and do that just yet,
Yeah, it's all about the intention.
Yeah. And I go into, as I said, to heal.
Yes.
For sure. But I also know that there's not a lot of healing that I need to do right now. Like you
want to live in the real world as well.
I love the real world. Like
yes.
I love my job. I love my friends, my family. I'm very content with my work and what I spend a lot of my time doing. That, I just don't feel like I need to do that all the time.
It's this ultimate paradox of you're God for those 4 minutes. You truly understand that you're God.
100%.
And then also you're this human being with the limitations and the ego and the limiting beliefs and health issues, like everything that comes with the human experience. And it's such a paradox because it's like, I know I'm unlimited.
Yeah.
And also I chose to come into this limited form to learn some very specific lessons.
Straight up, yeah.
And the way that I use DMT and all psychedelics is like a reference point, like a North Star. Let me experience this for 5 minutes or 8 hours, depending on the medicine.
Yeah.
so that I can remember that feeling of limitlessness, and then I'll bring it back to earth and I'll
100%.
work with that.
Yep.
I'll integrate that.
Integrate that. That's a huge one for me.
Yeah.
Integrate that. And so the DMT experience was cool. Like, bro, I love that. It's what's happened in my life afterwards, which has freaked me out a bit, because I didn't realize that integration could come off so strong. About 5 days later, I went to go train with one of my best friends in Cape Town. And as I walked out, and I like, bro, this is not fact. This is not science. This is not something that you can say, oh, it's because of this that this happened, or it's because of this that you saw this happening. But when I said goodbye to him, I knew it was going to be the last time I was ever going to see him. I knew it was. Like, I literally walked out and I was like, you are never going to actually be able to hug this guy again. He's one of my best friends. And I didn't know if it was something that was going to happen to him or something that was going to happen to me, but I knew we were not going to ever see each other again. And so for 2 weeks after that, I was like, I didn't bring it up with him because he's a happy, healthy, hardworking dude who everyone loves. So I didn't want to destroy his energy by bringing that up. At the same time, I'm a pretty mentally strong person. I just need a little bit of time to kind of like sit with that and be like, why did you think that? I called myself out in that moment. I even vocally was like, don't ever think like that. Like, don't ever think like that with your friends. Like, you never ever walk away. Bro, can you imagine if I walked out of this room right now and I was like, yep, that's the last time I'm going to see him? You'd be like, bro, what the fuck? But I walked out and I was like, that's the last time that like you're ever going to see Ustav. And so for 2 weeks later, I went then to Thailand. I went and did the Ironman in Bang San. And leading up to the Ironman, the triathlon, I thought, shit, maybe that intuition was you're going to drown. You're going to come off the bike. You're going to pass out in the 35-degree heat while you're running and you might die. So there was a lot of anxiety on my side of, I don't think I should be doing this right now. This is actually really like my brain is telling me all the time, you should not be going and doing this Ironman. Something is going to happen. But that was me coercing myself in a negative way because I still just didn't know how to make sense of that thought that I had 2 weeks before.
You had a true knowing at that point, but then your mind came in and started
exactly, and it's like making it about myself, right? And
very tricky to unpack in the moment.
In the moment, especially because I've got a very big competition coming up. Like, I don't actually have the time for this emotional thing. So, you know, it's just like get in the water, do the swim, get on the bike, cycle, do the run. There's no thinking about anything. It's just time, finish line. That's it. Show up. And so I did the Ironman. I went back to Bangkok the day afterwards. And I got a call from one of my best friends saying, dude, Ustav died yesterday. And I was just like, what? Like, how did I know? Like, how did I know? Like, was that the DMT that like gave me this like little superpower to understand that you knew something was going to happen to your friend? You knew it, like you called it out, you vocally called it out. What the fuck? And then obviously I immediately flew back to South Africa. I went back for the funeral. And then I arrived back in Bali and I had this dream of some, I know what it was that was exploding, but like it's a bit of a sensitive topic. So I'll just say like, basically my dream was just super explosive. A lot of people were dying. A lot of like buildings, structures had been bombed. Like I was watching a mass bombing murder like happen in front of me. I never had dreams like this ever. And you know, I did a little bit of Googling and I did like a little bit of asking around of like, what does that mean when you have a dream that's really explosive? And generally that means that like something has come to an end to make way for a new chapter, new journey, and that's exactly what happened. I had that dream the day that I arrived in Bali. And ever since then, things in my personal life have been really good. Like I mentioned to you just now, I'm seeing somebody that like really I align with on like every single level. There were a few things business-wise where things now really just picking up. And at the same time, a lot of negative things now are just not in my life anymore. Like there's not a lot of worry, stress, because I feel like that was all in the past. Like the second that I kind of went to that funeral, got that over with, came back here, that explosion, that big thing was just this release of energy where it's like, whoa, this whole buildup of the divorce, of feeling so lost and alone for the past 2 years, living in Portugal alone, Dubai alone, like traveling back to South Africa 3 times because I just didn't know where my place was. Should I go back home? Should I come back to Dubai? Should I go to Bali? There was so much like turbulence in my life for the past like 2.5 years that when I had this dream, I woke up and I was like, it's over. Like, it's over. Like, you can breathe now, So I don't know like how much the DMT has really kind of opened that like third eye almost, and like really invited this new leg and new journey that I'm on. And also how it's allowed me to now heal and move on from what's happened in the past. But I really felt that like I was a lot more conscious and spiritually aware of things happening around me and things happening within me after that DMT experience. So
I would guess it's opened up your eye a lot.
Opened up. And the funny thing is, someone pointed out, I've got 3 eye tattoos like tattooed on my body. You know what I mean? It's like one on the leg, one on the back of my head, there's one on my chest. It's like
the Trinity.
Yeah, it's a Trinity, bro. That's it. Of just open eyes.
I think one of the things about DMT and also 5-MeO DMT is it permanently opens up some channels, I think, that although you kind of close them down a little bit when you come back to the physical form,
like
you can't
open,
forget,
bro.
You've seen what you've seen, and it's going to be with you now.
And I don't know if it's a Bali thing, but like I've just started aligning with some seriously incredible people, bro. Like, and the weird thing is that I found myself in the right time at the right place with the right person who shares the same birthday as me. We've not, like, that's been the craziest thing. In the past like 3 months, I've met like 5 or 6 people that we get along so well. We've got the same passion and interest. And then it comes out in conversation, we share the same birthday. And you're like, bro, what the fuck is going on? And I don't know if it's just you open your heart and your mind and to just believing that actually life is connection. Like, and that was a big thing for me with the DMT, was just like, whoa, you're actually divinely connected to everyone and everything. You're all one.
Yes.
You're all one. We're all sharing the spiritual experience. We're all connected spiritually. We're just divided by physical being. Like, that's the thing, is like, you look different, you have a different skin complexion, you got different color hair, but pull ourselves out of this body, we're all going to have that same spiritual experience.
Yes.
We're all actually one. It's been unreal, dude.
There's the unity that DMT shows you, and also for me, it showed me that this world is either a simulation, a video game for the soul,
that's what I felt
some sort
it
of
was.
Holographic reality.
Yeah.
So when you look at reality as a video game, then it doesn't feel weird that you would meet 5 people who share the exact same birthday or the exact same interests, because the simulation can conjure them up.
Yeah.
When you're ready, when your frequency is aligned.
When you're open to accepting that. And I felt like I was in the fucking Truman Show, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I come back into the real world and I'm like, I'm in the Truman Show. Like, this is actually it. We're all being monitored. We're all being divided. We're all being fed information. Like, what we're experiencing is orchestrated. 100% orchestrated to some extent. Spiritually, I think we're also being orchestrated, but giving that freedom to just like experience life the way that it actually just is.
Yes.
Like, there's no... I don't know, man. There's no barriers in the spiritual world. There's no boundaries. There's nothing. We're all just divinely one. And that really made me even think, when coming back into the real world, nothing that we see, smell, touch, hear is imported from Mars. Everything comes from the ground. Everything on Earth is one. Like, we are just, once again, divided by skin color, height, age, race, preferences. Like, that's what divides all of us. But if we look at us on the core, spiritually, we're all connected. And if we look at it ourselves molecularly, we're all the ground, we're all the dirt, we're all coming from the same spot. We all share the same molecule. So it's actually really incredible that, like, you're actually all like inherently one on the ground, but you're all inherently one above.
Yes.
We're just so divided and connected, which I think, when you've gone through an experience where you realize we're all actually one, you start treating everyone as if you're all one.
Absolutely.
You withhold judgment and you withhold prejudice and all these things, because you are the same as me. You're the same as me. No matter what opinion you give, no matter what your viewpoints on COVID is, no matter what your fucking vaccination story is, whatever, it's fine. Like, you're still human. We're the same.
What's interesting about what you said is you feel like this matrix world is orchestrated by some people. I don't know if you have any theories on that.
I think it's just conditioning over thousands of years of people doing people things. Like I don't ever like watch The Matrix and I'm like, oh, there's a bunch of men wearing black fucking leather jackets. Like, yeah, sure they are, but I think.
But then on top of the highest level, it's orchestrated by God. And that's what I always come back to. It's God is running the show.
Yeah.
No matter what it looks like on the ground level in the video game.
That's it.
On the spiritual cosmic level.
Yeah, for sure.
I do believe and completely trust that God is running the show.
That's it, dude. But if you can bypass a lot of those layers of like government, organization, power play, and you can actually
all part of the game.
It's all part of the game, but the game is God. Right? Like,
exactly.
The game is God. And if you can and I'm not a religious person. Like I went to a Jewish school for 10 years.
I think we're using that word in the most primal sense of the word.
We're using the word God as like everything is God and God is everything.
Yes.
That's it. No matter what label you want to attach, no matter what religion you want to attach to that, whatever your belief system is, and the rules and conduct of the 10 Commandments or like the Torah or like, great. Those are all like, I think those are all valid. But if you just sweep that to the side and you just look at like the higher power and you're like, actually everything is still God. Like no matter how many rules and regulations and guidelines you want to put in between all of that, you still just have to trust the fact that there's like a divine source that's actually orchestrating all of this. And I think when you experience that through DMT and you realize that actually you are God, right? God is in you and you are that experience. This is why I say to everyone needs to do DMT just once in their life because it will connect all of us. Just like you say with mushrooms, bro. If everyone could just have one mushroom trip, you would understand that like the things that we worry about on a daily basis, the things that stress us out, the relationships that cause us like hurt and pain and all that, that's all just us living in this physical world and living the human experience. But once you can recognize that it's a human experience, but actually you are a spirit and you're a spiritual being, none of that means anything anymore. None of that hurt, none of that pain can actually affect you because a spirit doesn't feel that. When you're in that DMT, you're not thinking about having the argument that you had with your partner. You're not thinking about your work-related stresses. You're thinking, whoa, I am God right now. Like I'm experiencing the most beautiful, the most raw experience that like one can ever experience.
I wonder if we're even thinking at that level or simply being, experiencing, channeling.
Yeah, dude, this thing, I still go to sleep at night being like, fuck, that was crazy. This is now a month and a half, 2 months later, and I still go to bed and I'm like, what the fuck was that about? Like,
you ever get those little flashbacks?
Yeah, I'm like, what was that? That was wild. Like that was crazy. So that overall, that trail of transformation, and shout out to like everyone that was there on the day, because we arrived as strangers and we left as family, and that was really, really incredible. That opened my mind to trying then the ayahuasca.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we're at currently. Yeah.
Yes. So tell me how ayahuasca found you.
Well, this is where I truly believe that the universe puts the right people in front of you when the time is right. And so I went to the gym 3 weeks ago. I see who's now one of my best friends. His name's Aaron. He owns a few tattoo studios. He's a philanthropist. Like he's a speaker, YouTuber, really incredible person. And so I see this guy. He's got tattoos on the back of his head. And I was like, he's got tattoos on pretty much every inch of his entire body. But I was like, whoa, dude, you've got some really awesome tattoos. And he's like, thanks, dude. I actually own a few tattoo studios, and we're having an event tomorrow if you want to come. And that morning, I was driving and I said to myself, bro, you really have done such an incredible job being in Bali, setting up a good life for yourself. But the one thing that's missing is community. You have good relationships with everyone that you see on a daily basis at a restaurant, coffee shop, but you don't have a tribe. You don't have people that like you can make plans to go away with, or, you know, so that was like my intention for like going forward, was actually open yourself up a little bit more and put yourself in a room full of strangers. Then I got home and I was like, actually, I need to just give myself a bit of an oracle reading. I pull the community card and I was like, what the fuck? Okay, like that is so insane, but it could be coincidental, whatever. It's not though. Because by now, I mean, bro, I've done a bit of plant medicines. Like I've been spending a year and a half, like, you know, journaling and doing breath work and all these things. So I'm actually pretty open to the fact that, yeah, there's messages that get sent through to you when the time is right. Community, that was it. So then I go to the gym and I see this guy. And while I was on the way to the gym, then I also saw that there was a sign, flash tattoo event. So when he mentioned that there was an event, I was like, oh, wait, that's your event. I was actually thinking about coming and getting a tattoo. So anyways, the day afterwards, I go there and, bro, there's people that like, my first online client was there. And I was like, what are the chances that my first online client from Amsterdam, who I bumped into in Cape Town 2 months ago, has now just walked into Karma House Tattoo Studio in Ubud? That's weird. But I firmly believe that like we were put in that room together. It turns out that Aaron, the guy that I met now, who's a good friend of mine, actually is very good friends with Jeremy, my mate that now was my first client, right? So they know each other. Jeremy is telling Aaron what a good job I did when I coached him. So then all of a sudden now Aaron has come on as a client with me. So I'm training him to get into really good shape. And so we start training together. I was like, look, dude, if I'm in the gym and you're in the gym, we might as well train together. And so our first session, he's like, dude, have you ever thought about like doing ayahuasca? And I'm like, shut up. Like, have I thought about it? I've just come off of like a plant medicine journey and I've really wanted to actually explore that because now I'm comfortable with relinquishing that control. So I was like, bro, it's been on my mind for the past like few weeks. And so like, it was just this affirmational moment that like, whoa, you are really put in front of the right people at the right time when you are ready to receive whatever they have to offer, or like an experience that they are bringing to the table for you to actually be a part of. And we didn't know each other from a bar of soap a week before. And now we're talking about going and doing ayahuasca for 2 days together. And so, yeah, that's where we left it. I mean, we obviously then, you know, paid the deposit. We had the 2 shamans, really world-renowned, incredible people, and their partners. And so we had a beautiful villa, not even a villa, a mansion up about an hour and a half out of Ubud. This is nestled in the mountains. The mist in the mountains is not even moving because it is just so still. Wow. Everything's beautiful there, bro. Like, I can't even do just, like, my words cannot do justice of how beautiful it was. And so, you know, I think this is I don't want to say a templated, you know, experience, but obviously there's certain like kind of rituals of fasting early on in the day. You know, then before going into something like ayahuasca in the evening, you do the Kambo, right? To really just cleanse the body, get rid of any toxic energies and, you know, toxic fluids and substances in the body. So that's what we did. Was I ate at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 10 o'clock at evening. That's where we've all arrived. We've integrated. We know each other. You know, we've, I think, also rested, put our bags down, unpacked. And so 10 o'clock, this is where there's the introduction to now the 2-day ceremony, where he speaks to us a lot about like kind of what we can expect from the Kambo, from the ayahuasca. It's a beautiful ceremony that's being laid out. They're going to be playing music for 6 to 7 hours while we're on, you know, on the ayahuasca. And, but we're going to start with the Kambo. Now, I didn't know what the fuck Kambo was. Bro, I don't know any of this, dude. Like, I don't know. I honestly, like, this is all so new to me. They said we're going to start with Kambo, and I've got no idea what we're going to. Are we going to drink this? Are we going to, you know? Aaron had briefly explained something to me while we were at the gym about the Kambo. He's like, "Oh, you throw up," and you know. But in terms of the procedure of being burned open and then having frog poison like left on my skin, none of this was explained to me, bro. None of this, dude. You know,
what was going on through your mind?
I'm just like, okay, well, and the whole time I was actually making jokes about this, being like, well, I'm just going to take it as it comes, you know, because it's such an odd thing to say when you find yourself in an experience like this. Well, yeah, I'm just going to take it as it comes. Like, I don't have any expectation. I'm just going with the flow. That's it. I just go with the flow. I'm not so advanced and apply. I don't even know any other outside of what I've done now. I don't know what else there is out there, because I'm literally a plant medicine virgin. Okay,
It's gonna find you.
it's gonna find, but that's it, bro. It's like when the time's right, you'll be introduced to the right things, right people, right experiences.
Yes.
So we do the Kambo, and oh my fucking word, that was a very, very interesting experience.
For those that don't know what Kambo is or what it does,
Yeah.
can you give a little brief explanation?
I'm gonna butcher this, bro, because like I really, I molecularly don't understand it fully. I can only explain kind of like what was the surface experience for me was you get burnt open they heat up a vine from the Amazon. They heat that up and basically poke little burn holes into a part of your body. So for women, generally like the thigh or the hip, or that's more hormonally, I think, where women respond better. Whereas for men, we generally, hormonally are more upper body dominant. So for me, I had these little burn marks on my shoulder done, which I think is like the starting point of anyone or any male that does Kambo. You can obviously choose where you want it, but yeah, we did the arm. And basically you have these, depending on like kind of how many marks, that will, I think, influence the intensity of obviously how much poison is put onto you, how much is absorbed. So yeah, burning some holes in, wiping the skin away. So you just got like fresh, very small open wounds. And then I don't really know what the like procurement process is of this poison itself, but basically they come and they put on like tiny little blocks of this frog skin or like elements from the frog.
Yes, it comes from an Amazonian tree frog.
Yes.
And
you can't touch it.
It's this waxy substance collected by scraping the skin of the frog.
Yeah.
And it's used primarily in South America as a purging or cleansing ritual.
Purging, exactly. So that's what was explained to me. It was like, yeah, you're going to throw up. I'm like, cool, that's fine. But the poison gets put onto these open wounds. And like 2 minutes later, and this was explained to us, this is what was going to happen, is that your heart rate's going to start beating really fast. You're going to start sweating. You might struggle to breathe. And you're going to start feeling really fucking ill. And so it was maybe like a minute until all of a sudden I was like, whoa, okay, something really intense is coming along. It's kind of like when you've been in a sauna for a little bit too long and like you're really dehydrated and your body's just like, whoa, what is going on here? I feel weird. And that was it, bro. I started like sweating profusely out of nowhere. My heartbeat started going crazy. And that was it. Started rocking back and forth, and 2 minutes in, bro, there's the bucket in front of me and I'm just purging out. And obviously we needed to drink a lot of water beforehand. So I drank about 3 liters of water, maybe in like 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. And obviously the idea behind that is to now allow the body to have sustenance to bring everything up through. And so I threw up for a good like 10 minutes, like really like wild, bro. Like, and I started cramping as well. Like my abs and my stomach started cramping so hard because it was like a real like internal squeeze. It's kind of like rinsing a towel really hard. You're like really squeezing your insides out of all the bad shit that's in there, and it's going to come out. So, we do that it was a 20-minute experience. 20 minutes later, you're actually kind of back to normal. You're in the room. But then this was maybe at like 12 o'clock at night or like 11:30. We went back upstairs to go sleep for 2 hours. Just actually can't go straight from that into the ayahuasca. You do need a little bit of rest. And then woke up at about 1:30 in the morning. We're going to start the ayahuasca at 2. Drink the ayahuasca. And I mean, I don't even know where to begin with something like this. Like, so we drink the ayahuasca and, I think we all sit in silence for 45 minutes.
Do you have any expectations going into it?
Well, I mean, from what I understand, like you've got a voice in your head, or this is what I expected, right? Where it's like, oh, you might have a conversation with God, or grandmother Aya might show you a vision, of like the life that you should be living, or maybe it's going to confront you with something that is really uncomfortable that you need to sit through and watch as if it's a movie, and just really sit there with integrity and no judgment and really, So I didn't know. Like, I mean, everyone has a different experience. I can tell you right now, all of us had a very different experience, So, it's now 2 a.m, ingested the ayahuasca. And what I like about the eye was that, like, you know, if you're careful, you can still stand up, you can still walk around, you can still converse. You know, and that's what we were doing, was
Up to a certain point.
to a certain point, right? Unless like you're really fucking deep into it. But, you know, they were playing really beautiful music for us, really beautiful, like shamanic, Amazonian, like, and what was insane was that everyone that was there facilitating the event, they individually all had the most beautiful voices I've ever heard come out of a human in my life. But collectively, when they were doing it together, playing instruments, singing, that was just like, wow, like I'm so blessed to be experiencing this. And it was a full-on concert. Dude, I would have paid twice as much just to visit a concert like that. And so that was really cool because it kept us going. It kept us, you know, really, I think, stimulated to an extent, spiritually stimulated. And within the theme of tribal, Amazonian, connecting to, you know, Grandmother Aya, and like really just, yeah, you know, the theme was really, I think, in line with the music and the medicine. So,
what came up for you as the first sort of inkling that something was happening?
that I've drank ayahuasca. For the first few hours, I was actually in and out. Like I was I was sleeping for maybe like half an hour. Then I woke up and they were singing, and I was like really enjoying that. But there was nothing that I kind of put itself in front of me. The first thing was I dozed off at like maybe 4:30 in the morning, and
You guys must have been exhausted after
bro, at
Kambo.
this point I've been up for like fucking 21 hours because I get up at like 6 o'clock every morning. On top of that, I've also only eaten one meal, of which I've purged that, and I've purged any liquids in my body. So like, I'm dehydrated, I'm tired, I'm actually over this. I'm over it, bro. But you ignore that, you know, when you've taken any plant medicines, because actually it's not important, you know. And so I think it was like 4:30 in the morning. I like dozed off a bit, and I had this vision of me. I don't want to say me as King Kong, but like kind of how King Kong climbs like the New York building, right?
The Empire State Building.
Empire State Building. But I had a vision of me climbing the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. Okay.
I love how your vision has been.
Yeah, it's the
Dubai.
Burj Khalifa, bro, you know. But I had this vision of like me climbing up, like struggling. And then immediately I got pulled out of that. And I felt that in my body. I felt that I got pulled out of that vision. And the next slide that was put in front of me while my eyes are closed was me standing at the top looking down. And what I immediately got from that was keep climbing, bro, because you're going to get to the top. Like, you know, don't slow down. And dude, I can sit here in the conscious world and like tell myself that. But to have something put in front of me of, no, you have to keep doing this. Like, this is your dream. This is your vision. This is actually what's going on in your life right now, is that you are climbing and I'm pulling you out to show you that you're going to get to the top if you keep doing this. And so it could have been like a quick little dream, but bro, that dream doesn't just come like that. I think it was really the ayahuasca that like brought out that sense of, okay, everything in your life is actually pretty good right now. We don't need to go deep with anything other than the fact that I need to remind you that you need to keep climbing this fucking building because you are going to get to the top one day. And the view was beautiful. I was like, wow, I'm there. It's funny how it was the Burj Khalifa though. Like the Empire State would have been fine, you know what I mean? But, you know.
Ayahuasca is localized.
Ayahuasca is like, bro,
localized.
your business, everything is registered in Dubai. Like, you're going to come out on top there. So
It's like when you install the operating system on your phone and you're like, okay, which language do you want to access?
He literally did. So, you know, that was kind of just a quick little, like, bro, like 5-second thing. But anyways, so, you know, I'm kind of like coasting in and out. I'm actually just having like a really nice experience, bro. Like a very euphoric experience.
You had 1 cup, 2 cups?
2 cups.
2 cups.
And the sun came up. We were all in this really big opulent lounge. Bro, it's a beaut. Like, honestly, I can't thank the people that facilitated this enough for making such a beautiful experience. And the sun's coming up and I'm looking outside the window. And this was the thing. This was the thing that I'm sitting with today, where I still, like, I can't wrap my head around this. Was at some point I went upstairs and I got my blanket and my pillow from the bed. So I'm lying there in this lounge on the floor, like really comfortable. I'm lying there looking out the window. The sun's coming up. And when I looked back down, it reminded me of how my dad was lying with the same blanket and the same pillow while he was on his deathbed, and I was standing there with him. But because I'm looking down at this, I'm seeing things from my dad's perspective. And all of a sudden, that's where I transformed into my dad. And I was living the last 5 minutes of his life through his eyes. The music was playing, and it was matching the intensity of the situation that my dad was in. I was lying there with my hand over my chest. Like, bro, I literally was just lying there under this blanket, under the duvet, with my right hand over my chest. And that's where my dad's hand was while I was holding it, right? And I'm looking out the window in the same direction that my dad was looking up at me while I was standing there next to him. So all of a sudden, I realized, and I could see myself standing next to myself. I could see myself standing next, like, it was the craziest thing. And, you know, I think context of when my dad passed away was I went back to work on the Monday. My dad passed away on Friday. I went back to work on the Monday. I saw 15 clients. I didn't grieve on it. Like, I didn't think about it. I didn't like hold on to anything. I was just like, from the moment that and it was a bit of a stoic approach that or like maybe just I don't know what approach, but I've always believed that from the moment you're born, you're going to die. So why is it a surprise? It's just a part of life. Sure, it's your parents. It sucks. But why should that stop you from just getting on with it, you know? And so I didn't grieve, bro. I didn't like spend in the past 5 years, not even 5 minutes, just like sitting there being like, holy fuck. Was he in pain? How was he feeling? Was he scared? Like, what were those last 5 minutes like for him, you know? And so to all of a sudden find myself in that situation where I'm experiencing now second for second the last 5 minutes, how it played out with me standing there telling him I love him, trying to make him okay. I still never knew how he was feeling. And so to all of a sudden find myself in this situation where the duvet, the pillow, the way that his head was looking up at me, I immediately transported into him, and I started living those 5 minutes. And dude, it was just such a good feeling to like know that he wasn't scared. He wasn't in pain. He was ready to go. He didn't even know what was going on. He had dementia, so like there was no emotion, you know. But the only thing that I really did pick up was the amount of love that he had for me. And like, I think just to go into that situation, just knowing that like I was like the apple of his eye, like he was sitting there looking up at me, not saying anything, but just looking up at me, being proud, being happy that like I had done what I said I would do for myself, for him, for the family. You know, it was really like just a moment where I could see things through his eyes, and through his eyes, I knew he wasn't suffering. I knew he wasn't scared of dying, and I knew that he was at peace and that he loved me. And like, you know, all of a sudden the music starts to die down. They're finishing a song, and the second that the song finished was also at the end of that 5 minutes when he took his last breath and closed his eyes. And I was just like, I stopped breathing. Like, it was in that moment the music stopped. The 5 minutes to the exact second had stopped, and I stopped breathing. And like, I just felt this like real sense of, it's over. Like, you've actually been holding on to that for 5 years. You've held on to that for 5 fucking years, and you didn't ever. The second he died, I walked out the room, and I just like, I wasn't even sad about it. I was just in disbelief that like my old man, like my idol had been taken from me, and it didn't make sense to me. That's why I couldn't grieve. I didn't know if he was in pain. I didn't know what had happened, you know. They called me 5 hours before that, and they were like, your dad's going to die today. I didn't know what was going on. So just the fact I could be shown that experience and be put into like kind of that experience was, yeah, something that, as I say, everything else in my life is going fine. That's the only thing I haven't sat with for 5 years.
What a gift.
What a gift, bro.
For the ayahuasca to present you with that experience. And like they say, Mother Aya will give you exactly what you need. And of all the things that you maybe had already cleared, here was the one. It probably looks for the biggest block
that I never even sit there and think. I don't think about it.
Yeah, but it's in your body. Yeah. It's in your mind in some sense, right?
You know, and the thing is, I know that like wherever I go, whatever I do, whatever room I'm in, wherever I am in the world, he's always there with me. Like I feel that, like I know that he is, like all the time, like 100%. I feel that. I can reflect with him. I know that like when I make a decision, I'm making a decision knowing that he's there with me making that decision, you know. And so sometimes I dream about him. Like I have these really funny dreams, and then I wake up and I'm like, that was you that orchestrated that dream. That was fucked up, Dad, you know. But like he's always there, and I just feel that, you know, for me to really just be at peace with that situation. And the craziest thing is that I journaled about him the day of the ayahuasca retreat. My journal asked me, what is my happiest memory? So I've got these prompts in my journal. And I said straight up, like, the day where my dad was at like the height of his dementia, and I took him for a coffee on the seaside, and we just sat there in silence. Just sat there looking at the ocean, knowing that like the world could literally end right now. And it doesn't matter because I've got you and you got me. And so I journaled on this like in the morning. And like I thought about it like, you know, but it's just a journal entry and it's just a way for me to get something out, you know. But then to have that experience as well, I was like, that didn't happen by chance. Like that needed to really...
That was preparation.
That was it. So yeah, I mean, that was like, I think the one thing that came out, you know, the second night of the ayahuasca, same procedure with the Kambo. We started a little bit earlier so we could get more sleep between the Kambo and the ayahuasca, which we started at midnight. And the second night, I just went straight to sleep, and I had the deepest sleep I've ever had in my life. I didn't see anything. I didn't feel anything. I didn't experience anything other than Grandmother Aya just putting the fucking lights out. That was it. And I woke up and I was like, I had like 100 hours of sleep. I don't think I've ever had that where I'm like dead. Like dead. Like, bro, you really are just like nothing can wake you up. That was it. I was so at rest. So deep in rest. And I woke up and I was like, that's what I needed. I didn't need another vision. I didn't need another download. I didn't need something existential to happen. I needed to just be put to sleep. That was it. And that was in itself was an experience. Just to wake up from that and be like, is that what you needed to be shown? That you need to fucking sleep more? Like, you know what I mean? Like, are you serious? So I woke up and like everyone's obviously been kind of like tripping out, you know, throughout the evening. I woke up and I'm like, that's it. I got what I came for.
I feel refreshed.
I feel refreshed.
Great.
Everyone wants to go to sleep for the next 6 hours upstairs. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, fuck, I'm going to drive back to a boot. I'm feeling great. And then we came back and we went into a sauna. We got a body scrub, you know, at a local little Balinese place. Had a massage, and then I rented a villa in the jungle for the evening, and just really allowed myself to have some peace. So that was last week, and so now we're back on planet Earth for the past couple of days, and I don't feel like there's as much integration that I've done as opposed to if I compare it with the DMT. The DMT, I really needed to like give myself a little bit of space because I'd actually visually experienced something, whereas now I feel like after the Aya, I've actually been put to peace. And that's how I'm going about my days. It's okay. Everything's cool. I can't wait to experience it again one day. I can't wait to see my dad again one day. Like, I can't wait to, you know, like I look forward to life. I don't have that was it for me. It's like, I don't worry about money, bro. Like, if I earn nothing, I don't give a fuck either. Like, you know, things like that don't bother me. When it comes to career, you're going to have highs, you're going to have lows. When it comes to friendships and relationships, people are going to come and go. You know, these are all things that in a human experience can really make or break you. I'm not living in a human experience anymore. Like, I've experienced something so much bigger than me that it's so hard for me to now play on a playing field that nobody else is I'm just not on the same field as anyone else right now.
I get it.
That's not the same game.
Treasure that frequency.
Yeah.
Stay on it.
Yeah.
And work with it and live life through the eyes of God.
Yeah.
Because that's the frequency you're operating on now.
Yeah.
What may happen, and I'm not going to predict because who knows, but you may drop out of that frequency eventually as the 3D pulls you back in. But you'll never forget what happened. And you'll know when the time is right to have another calibration.
Exactly.
And what's interesting with ayahuasca is every ceremony is so unique. So next time you go in, you might have a whole vision quest.
Exactly.
And, you just never know.
Yeah.
If it's going to be emotional, visual, purging, sleeping.
It could be anything, bro. That's
Could be
beauty.
anything, but it'll give you exactly what you need. And if you work with it, if you dance with it and collaborate with it.
You have to go into an experience like this with like the highest level of integrity.
Yes.
And you have to watch it like a movie. No judgment. That was my thing. Is I could have come out of that and been like, fuck, that was such a hardcore experience. That was an emotionally triggering thing. But like, you know what? I knew that in the moment of going through that, that's what was needed the most. And I think that's one thing that people have this huge misconception about plant medicines is like, you think that it's going to bring out the worst. Oh my God, what if I get anxiety while I've taken this? Or I'm so scared, or, I'm so worried about what's going to happen. But that feeling right there is just a mirror of what's going on inside of you. And once again, it goes back to the idea of going into it with the intent to heal. And that for me was the biggest thing that aided me in this, was like, no matter what happens, I'm coming into this to walk out a better person and be more spiritually aligned with myself so that I can make a greater impact in the world, that I can hold more space for other people, that I can, really just not be in such this physical space of stress and, all these worries in the world and all this sensationalism that goes on about like war and this and that. If I could just live life without judgment, like that's I think that's like kind of the pinnacle of being free. And, if I went into this ayahuasca experience with any other mindset, being scared or worrying about, am I going to trip out? Am I going to visually see dragons? Am I going to, am I going to have a heart attack? This is not cocaine. This is like medicine. This is there to fix you. This is more potent than any pharmaceutical that's ever been made. Pharmaceutical, you're going to come down from that. This, you're going to be elevated. Yes. And you're going to be put on a level where it's almost impossible to ever see things the same. But yet everything is still the same in the real world. Well, inverted commas, real world, the 3D world, So, yeah, I'm grateful for it. I don't think I'm going to rush back into another ayahuasca experience.
Makes sense.
I don't feel like there's a lot of trauma right now in my life that I need to address. I've addressed the one that was one thing that I needed to really sit with. Maybe if I get called to it again, but I don't want to be like a crack junkie who drives around the streets looking for crack, or like someone that is looking for like a prostitute, like who drives around looking for one. I'm not going to go looking for it. When there's another opportunity where it's, hey dude, there's going to be a really beautiful weekend and we're going to go to Egypt. We're going to go and do this on the Nile. Fuck, that sounds amazing. That's an experience. Let's go do that, But in terms of me saying, oh, you know what, I think I need to do a bit more ayahuasca. No, like I don't think like that. You know what I mean? Like it's just, I think you need to, be gifted the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It has to be a calling. You have to tune into it.
Yeah.
And like you said, it doesn't have to be about trauma. One of the shamans I worked with, he said, you're going there to raise your frequency so that you can operate from a higher frequency when you come down to planet Earth.
Yeah.
That's it. Trauma may come up if it's blocking the way to that.
Exactly.
But if it's not, you'll just get a boost. You'll get an upgrade.
This is it,
you'll be shown some lessons, some insights.
You could be shown your future, which then you come back and you integrate better habits, structures, and routines to take you there.
Yeah.
So it'll always give you what you come for. And so, I mean, for my first ayahuasca experience and DMT, and it's been a very interesting 2 months, because like 2.5 months ago, I never even thought I would even wildly consider it.
It's been amazing to watch from the side.
That's been unreal.
When you came back from South Africa, you've done DMT, and then I hear you've done ayahuasca, and somehow like, oh, it makes sense.
It's funny because I saw you 2 weeks ago, and like it wasn't even a conversation that we had about me doing ayahuasca, because like I think it was even like the day after I saw you was when myself and Aaron met, and that was when we spoke about the ayahuasca. It was actually that night. I was sitting over, so I saw you. It was a Saturday evening, and then I left early to go to a farewell dinner in Ubud. I was sitting next to him, And that's where we started having this conversation.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
So, up until when I saw you, 3 weeks ago, like it wasn't even a thing that I'd considered. I'd considered it for a long time. I was interested in it. We had briefly spoken about me, potentially looking at doing it, but the opportunity had not presented itself yet.
If you think of all the 4 medicines that you worked with,
Yeah.
is there a common theme that sort of pops out at you?
Sure. I just actually want to even just say excitement. I honestly, I've never enjoyed something so much as like all of these medicines, because I'm excited to learn more. Like I'm excited to experience more. But I would say the one thing that's definitely come out of every single one has been me working against my former self to be better. Like, whether it's the trust in a medicine, because I've never trusted myself to potentially be taken out of this body. It's a scary thing, bro. Like a lot of people are scared about it in the beginning,
It's intense.
That's it. It's holy shit, you're about to do something that's going to potentially change your life. But most people think that changing some part of your life is a negative thing, whereas actually it could change for the better. So for me, just to trust, I think trust with the San Pedro, you don't know where this is going to take you. Trust with the Rape and the Sananga, you don't know what this is going to do to you. Trust with the DMT, shit, you're about to be taken out of your body. Trust with the Kambo, that this is going to be a brutal experience, but you're going to come out of it and you'll be fine. And trust with the Ayahuasca that you're going to be shown something that, you need to be shown and you don't know what that is. And that's beautiful. Like, so full surrender.
Yeah.
Full surrender and just trust. And I think if you can go into anything with that mindset, I went into it with that mindset, but all of those experiences reaffirmed that that's how I should live my life.
Right. And then you realize you also have to trust life.
You have to trust
That
life.
is the ultimate psychedelic trip.
When people say, I'm so stressed out, I have a decision to make. Just make a decision. You're going to be faced with another decision right afterwards. And then after that decision, you're going to have another decision. There's always going to be yes, no. Behind door no, there's going to be another yes, no. Behind then door yes, there's going to be another yes, no. But you just have to trust that like all the doors that you take, whether they're the right or the wrong doors, red or black, whatever it is, blue pill, red pill, like the destination is the same. It's God. It's like that's it. Like that's the end destination.
You're going to get there one way or another.
You're going to get that. You're on your way to it. Like that's it. It just depends on how difficult you want to make your life between the now and the then, through either deciding to just trust the process and trust that you're going to get there. Or if you don't trust, things are going to be a little bit more difficult, a little bit more challenging, a little bit more stressful. And that's going to suck when you realize that you're still going to get there. And you wasted potential and you wasted energy and you didn't ever surrender to how good life can be if you just relinquish a little bit of your control. But we're conditioned to be in control. We're conditioned to act out and we're conditioned to, stressing about things because nobody is connected. This is why everyone needs to do DMT and mushrooms. And this is why people need to surrender to that. And that's all it is. Just say it's okay. Like, I'll be okay. I'm still going to go to bed tonight. So between now and going to bed, whatever happens, whether I stay at work and I do this monotonous, boring, shitty, repetitive job, or I take the day off to go and do me, I'm still going to go to bed tonight. So why don't you just wake up, commit to doing a plant medicine retreat for 2 days, knowing that you're still going to go to bed that evening, so you might as well just actually experience something completely new that could really open your eyes. Open your eyes to what's going right in your life and open your eyes to maybe what you need to work on. But it's full surrender. And people are scared to do that. And I think that's such wasted potential.
Yeah. And I'll just highlight 2 things I noticed in your situation, which is in each of those medicines, you did it in a very proper ceremonial, intentional environment with very proper shamans, very proper people facilitating
it. And that's the most important thing.
Very important. And the second thing is you really felt into your gut before each one. Like when you were about to do DMT, you actually stopped yourself and you tuned in.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very crucial part of any journey is really tune in.
Yeah.
Understand that you will be okay, but are you ready for this?
Are you
Because
ready?
It's not a playground.
No.
It's a serious journey, and
It needs to come to you,
it needs to come.
and it will only come to you when you're ready.
Yes,
That's the thing. But don't close yourself off
right.
when it comes to
Right. And chances are, if it's popping up in your simulation, you're ready.
You're ready.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be there.
I went to a talk a year ago. Martin O'Toole, he's the author of How to Die Happy. It's a brilliant book. An incredible man as well. And, you know, part of his story was the ayahuasca experience that really shifted the paradigm in his life. And at the end of the talk, there were Q&As. And I was the guy that said, so tell me a bit more about ayahuasca.
Of course. Already your soul is planting
Already
the seed.
the seed was planted.
Yes.
Already the seed was planted, you know, and like that's why for the past year it's been okay, do all the work in this 3D physical world so that in this world you're ready to be taken out of it. You're spiritually ready to be taken out of it, to be shown more. But you cannot go into this without having done groundwork. It's work. Like you have to make sure that like you have built the foundation within you. Because if, let's say, there's gaps, holes, negative experiences, stresses, things in your immediate life that are actually still consuming your energy, you can't fully submit. You can't fully surrender.
Right.
You can't actually fully get the most out of these plant medicines. And the thing is, these plant medicines are there to actually hold up a mirror and highlight things that are going on in your life. And if, let's say, there's something that's being a complete energy thief and leech in your life, you're going to be shown that.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, if you have not done this groundwork within yourself, how you interpret that is also going to play a major role in how effective these medicines are for you. You know, if emotionally you're not in the right place, you're not emotionally going to interpret this as a great experience. It's like mushrooms. You are always in control of the mushroom. You're always in control of the experience. You are always still, you are here and the mushroom is just a little below. It's maybe orchestrating things a little bit differently and showing you things differently and maybe making you feel a little bit lighter or a little bit more euphoric or giving you a bit of a twisted, like, you know, kind of experience, you know, but you are still the human. You are still like the top of the food chain. You are still this physical entity that, you know, can still say, well, no matter how this trip goes, I'm still in control of how I interpret it. And I think that's the same thing with all plant medicines, is that, like, you know, you need to remember that these are here to come into your life to teach you a lesson or to open your eyes to something that needs a little bit of work or a little bit, you know, a little bit more attention. But at the same time, outside of all of that, it's your job as the physical being to go and do the work and to go and implement what you've learned. So I always look at things like I'm still in control. Sure, I'm going to be taking out my body, but at the same time, I go to sleep tonight and I wake up tomorrow and I have to implement this. I'm in control. And I think people think that it's something that you have to relinquish control in some sense to a plant medicine, but you need to remember that you're in control of your life and how that plays out. And I think that's what stops a lot of people from opening their hearts and minds to wanting to go on to an experience like this, because they're too scared to relinquish control and also too scared to take accountability to then implement what they've learned through an experience like that. So for me, I'm just once again going with the flow. Going with the flow and doing my best and not putting any expectation on myself to get it right. I'm a work in progress, you know. And
do you feel intuitively what is coming up for you for the rest of 2024? What is the work?
An abundant amount of success.
An
abundant amount, and not even financial. Like when someone speaks about success, I'm like, okay, cool, let's not talk about finances. Let's actually talk about what is success. Like, success is freedom. Success is freedom to express yourself with not worrying about judgment from others. Freedom of
expression.
Freedom of expression, not getting in your own way, just going with the flow, like letting life play out without worrying too much about what the end product looks like. Because you know what, you're going to get to the end of 2024. Guess what? It's the beginning of 2025. You're fucking back at the beginning again. You know, like, you just have to look at everything flowing from now until the day you die.
Yeah.
No months, no days, no years. Just like, make sure you're in flow. That's it. You know, flow has no borders. Flow has no limitations. It's just like you have to just, I think, work on that, of just really cultivating like a seamless, easy life. And it's possible. Life will come with challenges, but it's not about the challenges, it's how you like interpret things. And like, I think we've seen it time and time over with people that have gone through hardship and gone through really brutal, traumatic, horrible experiences in their lives, but you will just see something else about them, that they're in complete flow. And it's not a physical thing. It's the work that they've done in here and in here, you know, in their head and their heart. And so, you know, plant medicines are not always going to be the only answer. You know, I think a lot of people can find other practices to, you know, enhance their sense of grounding and sense of self-control and self-love. You know, that's also been proven that there's many other ways to skin a cat per se. But I think plant medicines show you that there is a North Star and that life is beautiful. And I think once you are exposed to that, it makes going through the day-to-day life actually bearable and enjoyable, because you know what you're working towards.
You see the bigger picture.
You've seen it.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that you can journal all the fuck you want. I love journaling. I've got 3 journals in my bag right here. I love it. But you can be as like self-reflective and you can do all this like self-development work, but none of that compares to what a medicine is going to show you. And then you can go and reflect on it and journal on it. But no amount of like the physical work will ever show you as much light and love as a plant medicine. Ever. It's not, and the thing is, the only people that are going to disagree with that are the people that have like not done plant medicines. And that's then a form of judgment.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, it's something that you can't pass judgment on if you have not done it. I did. And that's annoying that I did, because I could have been shown the light a lot sooner. But when the time is right.
When the time is right.
I needed to have it done on the 9th of April 2024, apparently, you know. And here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah, what is the 9th of April? 5th of April, yeah. So, that's it, bro.
Such a privilege to hear your story, and thank you for sharing your experiences.
Yeah, thank you
I
for
know
having
this
me.
will help so many people out there who are curious about these plant medicines, and to hear it from someone it's their first time doing it, your experience, the way you navigated through it, the way you surrendered.
Yeah.
I particularly thought the way you described DMT, which is this unexplainable phenomenon when you experience it, but you captured the energy of that so beautifully.
Yeah.
The awe, the extraordinary feeling of divinity that you feel on it.
Yeah.
I know that people will, the hairs on their arms will probably go up when they're listening to that part.
Change. That was the moment.
Yeah.
That was the actual moment that just changed my life.
Yeah.
Like a life-changing moment. Like, that doesn't come around often.
No, it doesn't. And it's funny, for me, it was equally the DMT that I can point to as this one single moment that completely flipped everything for me.
The Truman Show is no longer playing. You know, we're now watching a different show. A show of the real kahuna.
Yeah.
You know? It's wild, bro. I still struggle to like even... You can't even explain it. You can try and describe it geometrically and based on color and depth, but dude, like, there's no point in trying to explain it to someone, because like because they've not experienced it, their imagination can't put it together.
There's things you see on DMT that you could not have imagined.
No, I only realized last week while I was on ayahuasca, the tattoos on my neck are the shapes that I saw when I was on DMT, and I didn't even think about that until 3 weeks after it was actually tattooed onto my neck. It's crazy that my artist she was like, I said, I'm going to give you free range. Put whatever you want on my neck. I trust you completely. And so she came up with this design. I didn't give her any reference at all. She was like, okay, you want to put something on your neck? I'm going to kind of like ballpark figure, like, you know, what I think we should put on there. And she put it on. I'm like, I've been in love with this piece. And only the other day after the ayahuasca, I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh, that's unreal. That the shapes that I was experiencing on my DMT trip visually are actually now the shapes that coincidentally my tattoo artist that I gave complete control to has put on my neck.
And doesn't it make complete sense within the hologram?
It makes all the sense.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I don't even look at things as coincidence anymore.
No, it's just God signing his name.
Yeah. That's literally it. That's the signature right there, you know? Yeah.
What would you like to leave the listeners with? A final word of encouragement or advice?
Go all in. Don't go all in. Okay, like, let me backtrack. But, like, don't hold back to the idea of trying a plant medicine. Like, that really for me is, yeah, it needs to come to you when the time is right. But at the same time, I could have still been very closed off. Or I could have found a reason to not do it. I could have been like, oh, you know what? Yeah, there's a retreat this week, but, you know, it's bad timing. Or, no, like, when something presents itself to you, surrender to it. And just say, you know what? If it costs a little bit more money than the average, fuck it, whatever, I'll pay for it. Like, as you know, just know that you are in such good hands with plant medicines. Be open to it being a positive thing. Don't go into it being worried. There's always going to be a little bit of worry, of course. But I mean, people don't think like that when they ingest food with tons of MSG and seed oils, and you know, like, that's way more harmful. Way more harmful. That's leaving a lifelong mark on your body. You just need to, like, be patient and be open for the next 10 hours.
This leaves a mark on your soul.
This leaves a mark on your soul, your spirit, you know, like your outlook on life on a very profound level.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think just, you know, don't close yourself off to the idea and the opportunity of experiencing something. Even if you don't have to go all in terms of, like, dosage. No one's saying down 3 cups of it.
Just stay open-minded.
Stay open-minded. Yeah. Beautiful things happen if you're open-minded in any sense. If you're open-minded in business, you're going to learn how to do business better. If you're open-minded in a relationship, you communicate better. Great things happen. Plant medicines are no different. You have to just be open-minded to receiving and trusting. And then once that happens, you know, you're at peace. I can fully sit here now and say I'm at peace. Fuck with me. It's okay. You can't. This is just a physical body. I'm not in it. I'm here. I'm here for you, you know, but I'm not, you can't shake this snow globe. You're going to have to drop it. And right now you can drop it all the fuck you want. I'm not in it.
You're in your center.
That's it. I'm in my center. I'm hovering above that snow globe. You can drop it, man. It's fine. I'm above that, you know? So yeah, it's, you know, but the thing is, like, I still live in the real world. I still have a job to do. I've got clients that I need to hold myself to a high standard to. I've got Ironman commitments. I still train very hard. Train twice a day. Swim, cycle, run. Train 3 times a week. I do yoga 4 times a week. You know, I still get feelings of imposter syndrome. I still get, you know, these ups and downs. But that's okay. Like, I don't attach too much meaning to it. Like, I'm just still understanding that I'm a spirit living a human experience. And the human experience is never going to be perfect. It's never going to be right. It's never going to be non-stressful. But if you can recognize that that's a human experience and you are more than that, yeah, let it become a little bit stress and a little bit pressure, but just don't think that that is you.
Never forget that it's a game.
It's a game. You're playing a game. It's Monopoly. That's it. And, you know, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But, you know, think about it. You're playing the game, the Monopoly game, as you, the human, right? Looking down at this board. And so you need to then pull yourself one layer further.
Yes.
You're the human watching the human play the board game, right? You are not even the human. You're actually the spirit. So just pull yourself out like one layer further, you know, and remember that, yeah, you are what the human is to the board game is what the spirit is to the human.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. Mic drop. Boom.
So cool. Thank you so much, brother, for coming on the show.
Thank you, my bro.
Such a pleasure. Where can people find you to vibe with you?
My Instagram is Damian _ the Allrounder. I have a personal account, Travel with Damo, which is just, you know, like, I'm trying to just diversify the amount of content and just actually keep my business account as like my business account, and put more content there. And then, like, if anyone wants to see my Bali travels, South Africa travels, I take some pretty rad drone footage.
Eventually there'll be psychedelics with Damo.
Yeah, that's it, dude. That's for sure, man. Yeah, but I'm active on there. Facebook, Damian Schechter.
Awesome. We'll have all those linked in the show
that's
notes.
it, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, my bro. It's always an honor. I appreciate you. Legend.